lost sense of yourself even. So there's a lot of grieving going on. And the funniest thing, the very first book I wrote was called Love Up Your Life. And I wanted to share that with you because I'm pulling it out of my own archives. I'll put the link in the description here. Love Up Your Life, how to get grounded and have more love in your life. And that's the first step, I think, in all the work I do is how do we get grounded and what does that mean, right? How do we come into the present? And honestly, if we're hanging on to baggage, if we're hanging on to the past memories or resentment or regrets or grief, that doesn't allow us to be in the present time or to move into where we want to experience ourselves. And so when people come to me, a lot of times they don't even realize maybe they're grieving a part of their past that maybe they haven't quite let go of. And the other thing I really wanted to address today was amusement. Amusement is sort of at the other end of spectrum of grief because amusement is a very, very high frequency. And oftentimes when we're moping around or not finding too much joy in every day, it's really hard to bring up that vibration. So, one of the things I often recommend to people is listen to some funny jokes, listen to some comedy, watch a funny movie, get yourself out of that groove that you seem to be stuck in. So that would be probably a pretty easy, quick, simple way to shift that energy. And it really is an amazing vehicle. In my training, one of my students was reminding me, some of the sick jokes I come up with. And, it's just meant to tickle your funny bone, sort of take you out of that rut and shift the frequency so that you can focus on something different. So yes, and the second thing in the chapter, and so in this little book, it's not a very big book, it's a very fast read, but each chapter I've got steps along the way and how you can raise your vibration basically to attract the love that you want in your life. Now, when I wrote the book, honestly, it had been shortly after my near-death experience. So talking about love, what I learned about love and being the fabric of all creation. But at the same time, so many people were approaching me going, Amirah, when's my Mr. Wonderful coming in? And where's my soulmate? Or where's my twin flame? And honestly, as I said and alluded to in many times, if you're following me, it's your natural rhythms, it's your energetic frequency, the vibes you're sending out into the world that are attracting everything in your life, everything you're experiencing. And you might not want to hear that, quite honestly. I didn't want to hear it either. I could have punched somebody in the face when they told me that way back when, but your vibrations, your natural rhythms, when you're in alignment, when your chakras are clear and functioning at their fullest capacity, it's almost like you emit, what do they call them? Pheromones, right? You have this natural magnetism that begins to permeate the space. And even ahead of you, it goes out into the world that you don't see, and it's creating your future. So whether it's a new career, whether it's a relationship, just loving yourself, healing your physical body, your finances, it's all related, has to do with your frequency. And so in the book, I talk about revitalizing your love vibration. So a lot of people in relationships, especially long-term relations and ongoing relationships, sometimes the vibe sort of wanes, right? You were really chemically hot for each other when you first met, and then it kind of sort of minimizes or diminishes. So how to reactivate that or trigger it and bring it to a whole new level of vitality? Resexualizing yourself. I know as we get older, things change, right? And there are ways to rejuvenate the sparks, how about passion for your hobbies? And I know that can be interpreted as probably passion, but not necessarily sex. It's a vibrational frequency. It's a passion. It's a yearning and magnetism. Releasing energies from past sexual encounters. So a lot of us don't like to talk about that. It's not a subject that's openly discussed, but our past encounters, whether they're good or not so good, or traumatic. I talk about that and being able to clear those energies. So all of that activates your love and your sexuality, your true magnetism, unlocking your natural attractive force, stimulating the largest sex pleasure. And I'm telling you what, it is not what you're thinking. It isn't down there. You're going to be surprised. In fact, I ask this question to guys all the time. And go ahead and put this in the chat if you know what this is. What is a woman's largest sex organ? I don't know if anybody's here. Let me see, because I'm trying to deal with all these things. Okay, so thank you for love advice. Good. Yeah, and the book will help you out a lot. So yeah, I'm going to tell you, I just can't bear it. It's your ears. It's the lady's ears. So guys, if you're listening to me, the way you speak to your loved one is the way she's going to respond. In other words, if you're listening to her, if you're giving her feedback, or if you're paying attention and honestly participating in the conversation, that is what's going to turn her on. So it's not what most people think, And of course, guys have a different agenda, right? But if you really want to get what you want, then it's talking to her, letting her hear your voice, how you speak to her, the tone in your voice, the words you use, the expressions you use. How to harness and radiate sexual energy. Okay, so I got some hot tips there. And how to send an energetic love letter. We did a little bit of that yesterday in the with the love vibration, the love meditation. So if you haven't heard that, you might want to tune into that. It's just a 5-minute quick meditation. And so now my message to my tech is repeating what I'm saying. So I apologize for that. Anyway, isn't that fun? Isn't this so amusing? At least it is to me. And again, how do we have amusement in stressful situations? Of course, this isn't my main gig, doing tech and coming live. So, this is a challenge I gave to myself to show up. And by the way, I'm going to share with you my necklace. This is one of my pieces of jewelry. Talk about love. The vibration of red isn't always just about love, but this is a necklace that I made, and all my jewelry, pretty much most of the jewelry I'm going to wear over the next month is jewelry that I made. They're all custom pieces. They're all one of a kind. So if you think that you're interested in that jewelry, send me a message below. So yeah, one of a kind. And I was selling my jewelry internationally because that was how I first started healing myself way back in 1991, when the doctors told me, go home and prepare your affairs, death or wheelchair. And so I started to get into gemstones, the colors. I have a design background. So the colors and the vibration of the gemstones were what really started awakening me. So many people are interested in crystals these days. I know it's a big fad again. So for me, it was over 30 years ago. So I really began using my artistic expression, creating one of a kind pieces. Would get lost for hours. Sometimes I'd stay up all night creating these very special creations. And so that's it. I put them in a box after, so many things happened. My life changed. I got into a different path. And I was selling them, as I said, internationally in Tecate at a resort spa, and in other places, sold them in Dubai. And so I've been very blessed with that and delighted, but they've been sort of in the back burner. And I thought, you know what, that's a part of me that was really special. And it taught me so much, and learned how to put myself out there in a whole different way after leaving the corporate world. So just thought I'd share a little something that you don't know about me and show it off, because you know what, it's my challenge to show up in ways that maybe I've been hiding or not allowing others to see or to know. So if you're like that, go ahead and put a comment in the chat if you've been holding back some part of yourself, just like I have, and hey, I've been doing this work for a long time, but there's ways that we hide, and we don't allow our own brilliance to come through. And hey, I'm guilty. And so I'm super excited because tomorrow I'm going to have a really special guest with me, Yvonne Decker. She is an image consultant, and she offers a signature image. That's what she calls herself, your signature image. And we're going to talk about perfection and perfect pictures, and how we block ourselves with these ideas or beliefs about what perfect is and when we're going to get there, or I'll launch when it's all perfect, right? And as you know, in the last week and a half, I've had my challenges with this technology. So it's okay, right? It's okay. And if the hair's not perfect or the face ain't perfect, but it's a way I'm showing up. Am I all committed? Am I all in for me? So Yvonne and I are going to talk about our own challenges with perfection and how that helped us and how that limited us. And I hope you enjoy the conversation. Join in. Please welcome. Bring yourself and sit yourself in the seat for that. And on Friday, another special guest, Julie Parker. And Julie is going to read my face. Yeah, she's going to tell you about me from her perspective. And she uses face reading to help people decide how to sell to somebody, how to approach somebody in order to get the sale. So she's going to talk about me, and you might be interested for yourself in what that means, or get a little insight on Amirah. So there's no other questions here. So let's see. Hey, you're doing great. Thank you, music lover. I appreciate that. And Laffy Live, thank you for your comments. And I know, my dear Tracy, you tried to come in earlier. I apologize. We were setting things up and going through the technology, making sure everything worked. So please come back. It's 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, weekdays. Okay. So I will be back again tomorrow and invite you to join me live. And if you're wanting to ask Yvonne, your signature image consultant, some questions, we're opening to some questions on the live platform. You can join us on Zoom. And same with Julie on Friday. So until then, I'm going to have a great day. I hope you do. Sending you some fairy dust and creating some magic today. Enjoy.